Dharma sthapana. What does dharma mean? We use this word very often, but according to Vedanta, the word dharma has got three meanings. Dharma has got three meanings. The first meaning is dharma means, the primary meaning of dharma is our real nature. Who are we? We are not body, not mind. Then who are we? So, Atma. It is to make us know this is real dharma sthapana. And this is expressed in Hinduism so beautifully. Said, what is the purpose of an incarnation? To establish dharma. What does dharma mean? It is to establish Chaturvidha Purushartha. There are four supreme values according to Hinduism. There are three supreme values according to Western culture. What are the Western cultural ideas? Truth, beauty, and goodness. It is there in our Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. But more explicitly expressed in Hinduism, four. They are called Purusha, Artha. Purusha means every intelligent human being. Artha means sought. Every human being seeks or should seek four things: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. How many? Four. Dharma, artha, and kama. Now, these four are divided or subdivided into two. Dharma, artha, and kama. This can be termed as instrumental values or worldly happiness, or in Sanskrit, abhyudaya. What is the name? Abhyudaya. This is the word used in our scriptures, and Shankaracharya, as we would like to point out just later on, he divided Purusharthas into two: Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. Abhyudaya means the highest happiness obtainable in this world. Nishreyasa means just to be oneself, Brahmananda. What Sri Ramakrishna says roughly, Vishayananda and Bhajanananda belong to Abhyudaya. Brahmananda belongs to Nishreyasa, only Nishreyasa. That is realization of God, happiness after realization of God, happiness before realization of God. Two types. So this is called Dharma Sthapana. What is it? First, an incarnation clarifies these are the four goals by any intelligent human being, not a stupid, idiotic human being, intelligent human being. Of course, you know, even an unintelligent human being also wants happiness. But what is the difference? The difference is unintelligent human being unintelligent, doesn't know how to get it. He wants it, but he cannot get it. An intelligent human being wants it, but also knows how to get it. That is the difference. That is why it is called Purushartha. Artha sought by Purusha. Purusha means human being, not man. Purusha doesn't mean man. Purusha means human being. But not every human being. An intelligent human being. So, the whole world, all the men can be divided into two categories: wise and otherwise. Yeah. Okay. Dharma Sthapana. Then, he also, in the Bhagavad Gita, why does an incarnation incarnate? Paritranaya sadhuna. To protect the virtuous people, spiritual people, religious people, anybody who is leading a good life is a virtuous person. And also at the same time to destroy demonical people, vinashaya cha dushkruta. We need not literally take this meaning, though this is what Bhagavad Gita says, paritranaya sadhuna. But secondary is what is called, this is the primary meaning. Secondary meaning, important meaning is, he makes virtuous people, first of all protects and then encourages, inspires by his ideal, and he also tries to counter the unspiritual tendencies by his life and teachings. That is the meaning of dharmastapana. Not necessarily always he kills, sometimes destruction also takes place. Okay. Whom did Sri Ramakrishna kill? Okay, he is inspiring people. Vinashaya cha dushkruta. That's why Swami Vivekananda says in that beautiful hymn, Shakti Samudra Samuttita Rangam. What did he say? Samshaya Rakshasa Nasha Mahastram. What is the greatest evil of this yuga? It is called samshaya. Samshaya means what? Not having faith in higher values of life, not having faith in God, not having faith that there is an afterlife, not having faith that there is an afterlife, after life, after world and God. Sri Ramakrishna comes and establishes this faith to the hilt. Okay, this is the major reason why God incarnates. Okay, then you can also put secondary things to prove that God exists and can and must be realized. By his life, he proves God exists and he can be realized and he must be realized. That's why many times what he says, Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, that the goal of life is God realization. And he says, he who doesn't realize God, he lives in vain. Very clearly. Next, to prove the promise of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam E Janaha Pariupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. There is a beautiful verse. Now, this teaching is taken from the great master directly. Why did Sri Ramakrishna incarnate? Swami Sharadananda's reason, one of the reasons is, in the Bhagavad Gita, God had promised, God means Krishna is not Krishna. Krishna is God himself, incarnation. He promised, whoever depends upon me, thinks of me, I will protect him and I will bring whatever is necessary and I will look after him in every way. Swami Sharadananda says, in this age, people have lost faith in this promise of the Lord, and so Sri Ramakrishna is specifically born that this statement of God, promise of God, holds good forever, and it is to prove to the hilt that it is the Sri Krishna's promise holds good for how long? Forever. And in this connection, I remember a beautiful promise as I was thinking about Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna's one of his teachings is, if any person had sincerely prayed to God even once in his life, he is sure to come here and attain the purpose of life. And that was what in Ramayana also it is said, when Vibhishana came to take refuge in, then everybody was doubting, excepting Hanuman. And then Rama tells to everybody categorically, it is one of the most wonderful verses in the whole of Ramayana. If any person says once in his life, O Lord, I take refuge in you, thereafterwards I will not leave him, he may leave me, but I will not leave him. And this is what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. Suppose a person called upon God once, sincerely. After that, he forgets about it. What happens to him? Will he come to God or not? Okay. He will come. That is the promise. But we also have to understand, he will come to God means what? He will come to Sri Ramakrishna, or he comes to Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. We have to understand, many people do not know the name of Ramakrishna. Many people know also. One of our Swamis in America was asked, Swami, are you a Christian? He said, no, I am not a Christian. I am a Ram Christian. So here we are not talking about a particular person. We are talking about the ideal. So he can be Jesus, he can be Buddha, he can be any local saint, doesn't matter. They come to God. Okay. That is why to prove the promise of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, to prove that academic education is not a requirement for spiritual life. Swami Vivekananda gives an explanation of it. Perhaps we will come to that later on. And Swami Adbhutananda's life is a graphic illustration that you don't need any academic qualifications. And Sri Ramakrishna himself in his life, when his brother wanted him to get academic education, what was his famous reply? What is the use of education which bundles only rice and banana? That means he is denying that the purpose of education is not just to earn money. The purpose of education is to purify ourselves and to reach God, to progress in spiritual life. To prove that happiness doesn't depend upon any external factor. How did he prove it? He lived a very simple life. And yet, who was the most happy person in this world? And how do we know he was a happy person? Two proofs. One proof was whoever lived with him. They said, the moment we enter into Sri Ramakrishna's presence, we are filled with ecstatic happiness. Definitely. And second proof is us. Whenever you think of Ramakrishna, do you feel happy or not? What does that mean? If you are thinking of Ramakrishna and not happy, what are you thinking about?
Something else.
Whenever you are happy, what are you thinking about? Happiness is another name for God. Yeah. It's a wonderful subject, but we might discuss it in the future. But the point is, you don't need anything. No money, no comforts, nothing is necessary. You can be very, very happy. Now, why is that point very necessary? Because these days, the minimum basic requirements, what is called bare necessities. Bare necessities, without that, man cannot be happy. This is what these educated, wise psychologists are telling, the hierarchy of values. It's again another wonderful subject from the psychological point of view. But Sri Ramakrishna proved that any man without any external thing can be very happy, like that king who didn't have any clothes, if you remember this story. Remember? There was a king. He was very unhappy. He wanted to become happy. He asked a wise man how to be happy. He said, find out the happiest man in your kingdom, put on his clothes. So he sent his soldiers. After 6 months, they all came back. And he asked, did you find happiest man? They said, yes. Did you bring his clothes? No. Why? He didn't have any clothes. So this is a point. To prove that one must lead a fulfilling life following one's nature. is one of the Bhagavad Gita's very, very cardinal teachings. What is it? Fulfillment. Psychological language is, we all want, every human being wants to lead a fulfilling life, not a happy life. Happiness follows a fulfilling life. Otherwise, happiness will not come. So, if we do something worthwhile, fulfilling, happiness follows automatically. So, to lead a fulfilling life, to lead a fulfilling life, we must lead a meaningful life. To lead a meaningful life, we must know what meaning our life holds for us. And to make a meaning in our life, we must follow what is called our pravrutti. That is what is called varna ashrama dharma. It's a marvelous subject, in the past, varnashrama means a duty according to one's caste and one's station in life. Varna means caste. Ashrama means station in life. Brahmachari ashrama, whether he is a student or a householder or a retired person, you can say, nowadays you can say a student life, a householder's life, a retired life. These are only three, and then some people take to sannyasa life. But according to old Hinduism classification, there is no such thing, hardened division called it must be like that only. One can be a sannyasi, is called grihastha sannyasi. That is why Holy Mother, she showed the example, the ideal of what? A grihastha sannyasi. And that is you be a sannyasi inside your mind. But if you wish, you can also don ochre cloth and live outside external sannyasin's life, but not necessary. Which comes first? Very interesting point here. Before Shankaracharya, this grihastha sannyasi dharma was most common. After Shankaracharya, he put such an emphasis upon external renunciation that later on our whole idea has changed. Now Sri Ramakrishna has changed the whole lot. How did he change? First of all, he was an internal sannyasi. Secondly, he was also an external sannyasi. Now, did he ask his wife, I am a monk, you go away, and did he ask her to live separately? He asked her, you also lead a spiritual life. I am also leading a spiritual life. Of course, this is an exaggeration. But he said, there is no harm. So, why did Sri Ramakrishna allow his wife to be with him? There must be some significance.
To show people.
Yeah, to show to the people that it is not necessarily that one should take external sannyasa, but there must be internal sannyasa is a must. External sannyasa is an option. Yes, you may take, you may not take. But without internal sannyasa, if there is an external sannyasa, it is not going to work out. In fact, Bhagavad Gita emphatically, it never even mentions about external sannyasa. What does it say about sannyasa? It says one who had given up sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhaha. A sannyasi is one who had given up all what is called desires. He never mentions for once about external sannyasi. Have you noticed it? It will never come in the Bhagavad Gita. Even in the last chapter, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, the very chapter's name is Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. So Arjuna specific, what is the difference between a Tyagi and a sannyasi? He never mentions you have to go outside society. The idea was there. There were some people who used to, they were called Shramanas. For example, Agnivalkya says that I would like to take up the life of a sannyasi. But there is no specific, they used to live individually. It's a style of life. Sri Ramakrishna had come to prove that internal sannyasa is very, very necessary. And in the same line, God incarnated as Sri Ramakrishna to prove that Varna ashramas are real, not as interpreted in our traditional way, not Jati Brahmana, but Guna Brahmana, etc. So, whichever station, whether you are a Brahmin or a Shudra, or whether you are cleaning the shoes or you are preaching, it doesn't really matter. You behave, each one has got his own dharma, and if we follow that dharma as nishkam, as a worship of the Lord, then one evolves and progresses in spiritual life. To prove that to be successful, one must fulfill 4 conditions. To be successful in any life, specifically in spiritual life, but in any field of life, one must fulfill how many conditions? 4 conditions. Specifically, you can meditate upon them. First, there must be a definite goal. Second, there must be discipline. Third, there must be absolute dedication or focus or concentration. And all these 3 will not be successful without one inescapable fact of life. What is that? God's grace. Daivi Sankalpa. So this is why God incarnates. How does God incarnate? How does God incarnate? Bhagavad Gita gives the answer. How does it say? What does it say? Ajopi san avyayatma bhutanam ishvaropi san prakrutim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atma mayaya. Even though I am the Lord of the universe, I take the help of my own yoga maya and I become born, as it were, in a human body. Ajaha, I am birthless. I am the Lord of the whole Bhutanam Ishwarupisa. Prakrutim Swam Adhisthaya. Taking the help of my own yoga maya, I take birth in this world. That is how he is born. Okay? Why he is born? How he is born? Now, the third point. When is he born? When? So Bhagavad Gita gives yada yada hi. Whenever virtue declines and vice increases, then I incarnate myself and I establish virtue and try to eliminate what you call vice, adharma. Okay, here I am taking a little bit, I am going to read from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita by Shankaracharya, one of the most marvelous introductions you will ever get. I just take that particular portion, I am going to read out. This is what Shankara says. I was tempted to put the whole quotation in Sanskrit, but lest you might quickly attain samadhi, I refrained with great difficulty. Having created the cosmos and seeking to ensure its existence, the Lord brought forth in the beginning the Prajapatis, progenitors, Marichi and the rest. Then he imparted to them the Vedic path of work, Pravritti Lakshanam Dharma, means duties in this world, that is, live in this world with dharma, is called Pravritti Lakshana, and that leads to Abhyudaya. Abhyudaya means the highest worldly happiness possible in this world, including heavens, etc. Later, bringing forth the Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana and Sanat Kumara, he imparted to them the path of renunciation of work, Nivrutti, Lakshanam Dharmam, Gnana Yoga, marked by knowledge and dispassion, renunciation. This twofold path of the Vedas makes for the world's stability, for prosperity and emancipation. Prosperity and emancipation. Emancipation means liberation. Prosperity means any happiness in this world. What is the difference? If it is prosperity, then the person has to be reborn again and again and again. But if it is emancipation, once he attains, then there is no rebirth. So these twofold dharma, he says, pravrutti and nivrutti. And Swami Vivekananda beautifully, he made this in his Bhakti Yoga, pravrutti and nivrutti. Karma Yoga also he brings out this idea of pravrutti and nivrutti. So, okay, God incarnates, he imparted these things at the beginning of creation. Then what happens? Later on, due to the lapse of long periods of time, the practitioners of the dharma came to be dominated by cravings. Cravings means or desires. By the lack of discriminative knowledge, adharma, vice, came to dominate dharma. That means righteousness has gone down and unrighteousness has increased. Incidentally, Sri Ramakrishna's definition of worldliness, what is it? Kama and Kanchana. And what are the Purusharthas? 4 Purusharthas? Dharma, Artha, Kama. So why did Sri Ramakrishna condemn Artha and Kama? Because they are not accompanied by Dharma. If Artha means making the instruments money, body, mind is the Artha, not money. If there is money and if you are suffering from dyspepsia, it is not going to do any good to you. It may do good to your nephew, not to you. Okay, you say, rich uncle passed away and no children. Ultimately, the whole thing comes to whom? To the nephew. Okay, that's why what Sri Ramakrishna meant is, if there is dharma, artha and kama are valuable. In what way? Devoid of dharma, artha and kama pull down a man and puts him more and more in the power of maya. But coupled with dharma, this very artha and kama will not only gives happiness, as we discussed, it also purifies our heart and slowly but surely takes one to the highest goal. So Sri Ramakrishna did not condemn artha kama simply like that. Devoid of dharma, they are condemnable. Why? Because he is an incarnation of God. So what is the purpose of his incarnation? To again re-establish abhyudaya and nisrayasa. Prosperity, or I will put it this way, worldly happiness and liberation. So worldly happiness is not condemnable. In fact, that is inevitable in the course of evolution. That is the meaning of evolution. But devoid of dharma, it brings wars, it brings psychological problems, it brings diseases, it brings death, it is counterproductive. So that is the meaning we have to say. So due to lapse of long periods, this adharma increased. Then what happened? Therefore, with a view to ensuring the well-being of the world, the primal all-pervading agent, celebrated as Narayana, is held to have born of Vasudeva and Devaki's womb. You are talking about Sri Krishna. By an aspect of himself as Krishna, in order to safeguard the spiritual power in the world. Once the dominance of spirituality is assured, the survival of the Vedic Dharma is guaranteed, which is supported by people doing their duties according to their role in society and stage in life. So, to re-establish the evolutionary process by which man slowly travels from a lower rung to a higher rung, and that is where the three Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha and Kama, if we follow, then inevitably what is the fourth step of the ladder? Moksha automatically comes. This is the secret. When does God incarnate. Okay. Exactly the same idea. If you have read, I sent some notes. Did you receive those notes?
Yes.
This is what Swami Vivekananda is telling. Have you read?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just reading quickly. When, by the process of time, fallen from the true ideals and rules of conduct, and devoid of the spirit of renunciation, addicted only to blind usages, and degraded in intellect, the descendants of the Aryans failed to appreciate even the spirit of these Puranas, etc., which taught men of ordinary intelligence the abstruse truths of the Vedanta in concrete form and diffuse language, and appeared antagonistic to one another on the surface, because of each inculcating with special emphasis only particular aspects of the spiritual idea. And when the one eternal religion of the Vedas, Sanatana Dharma, the grand synthesis of all the aspects of the spiritual ideal into conflicting sects, and by seeking to sacrifice one another in the flames of sectarian hatred and intolerance, that then it was that Sri Bhagavan Ramakrishna incarnated himself in India to demonstrate what the true religion of the Aryan race is, to show where lies the true unity of the Hindu religion, and above all, to hold up before men for their lasting welfare as a living embodiment of the Sanatana Dharma. It's very important, underlined as the living embodiment of the Sanatana Dharma. That is why, what did Roman Rolla say? Roman Rolla said, Sri Ramakrishna lived 2000 years of Hindus' life. That means he embodies all the incarnations, all the phases of Vedanta, Vedas, Upanishads, Tantras, and Puranas. So he came, nothing has to be denied. Nothing is to be said as useless. Everything was useful in its own time to prove. And that's why he practiced all phases of religion. He practiced Vedanta, practiced Puranic religion, he practiced Tantra, everything. And by practicing all this, he not only practiced Sanatana Dharma, what we call Hindu religion, but he also practiced, in a way of speaking, Christianity and Islam and everything else. Of course, Christianity and Islam he also practiced separately, even though for a few days, and reached the same goal. So, the living embodiment of Sanatana Dharma, his own wonderful life, into which he infused the universal spirit and character of this Dharma, so long as cast into oblivion by the process of time, in order to show how the Vedic truths, eternally existent, as the instrument with the Creator in his work of creation, preservation and dissolution, reveal themselves spontaneously in the minds of the rishis, purified from all impressions of worldly attachment. And because such verification and confirmation of the scriptural truths will help the revival, reinstatement and spread of religion, the Lord, though the very embodiment of the Vedas, in this his new incarnation, has thoroughly discarded all external forms of learning. Here, another point he brings out. Why did he not learn? Because if he has studied, what would have been the problem?
It would have become an exclusive. It would be interpreted as being an exclusive.
That is one reason. Important reason is, nowadays a special type of psychology has come. Because you read, you have experience. Not because it is the truth. You know, you read somewhere and then you believe in it, and then you think you have some vision or something, and if you had not read, you would not have got that one. Now nobody can say of Ramakrishna, you have read all these books and that is why you imagined them to be true. It's no. All these Vedic truths, of not Vedas also, you have experienced because they are true. You experienced because they are true. They are not true because you experienced. Yeah. That is why first time he experienced directly. Second time, he experienced them through scriptures. Yeah, Guru means what? He tells, scripture tells you this, you do this. If you do this, and then first, this is what the scripture tells here. Second, if you do this, then you will experience this. So he confirmed that, but long before that, he confirmed all the truths. So both he did. Why did he do both? Do you follow what I am talking about? Sri Ramakrishna practiced spiritual disciplines how many times? Twice. First time he practiced without the help of any guru, with intense longing to the Divine Mother and complete surrender to her. Second time he experienced exactly, I am not exaggerating, because he himself said, whatever I have heard from my gurus, so long before they came, Divine Mother had revealed to me every single one of those truths. Now, he experienced Nirvikalpa Samadhi with the help of Totapuri. Did he experience Nirvikalpa Samadhi before Totapuri came? Yes. That's what it meant, really. So what does that prove? It proves academic education is not necessary. What it proves is, if you be like a scientist, and say scientist makes an experiment, what does he say? Says, this is how you have to make an experiment. You follow exactly, and if you don't get the same result as I have got, then it is not scientific. So anybody can do it. Swami Vivekananda in this connection also says something very, very vital. He says, if anybody claims only I have this experience and nobody else can have this experience, the worst is that happen, or the best thing is, he is ignorant fellow. But the worst is, he could be the most dangerous person on earth. So if anybody says, nobody can experience excepting me, that means don't believe it. Be at least 1,000 miles away from that person. Okay, this is what. What did we discuss just now? First point was why. Second point was how. How means when, how. Even I incarnate. How does God incarnate? With the help of His own Yogamaya. Prakrutim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. So what does that imply? If a person says, I took up the dress of my servant with the help of my servant, what does that show? That means he is the master. That means whenever he wants, what about us? So the servant did not dress us because of our desire. He said, you stupid fellow, sit down, I will dress you. So he is the master and I am the slave. In his case, he is the master and Maya is his slave. That's why he says, Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante mayam itam tarant. This Maya is divine. Divine means mine. And nobody can cross it unless I am graceful to him. So how does God become graceful? You worship God. You surrender to him. You pray to him. Then he will say, this is my man. Do not trouble. Banglate আছে না একটি কথা, there is a beautiful saying. Divine Mother. So she says to man, hey, don't worry, I love you, I give this servant to you, mind. And then she winks at the mind and says, report. All this fellow does to me. And I know how to pull the strings through the mind. But if anybody worships her, she says, hey, look, this is my man. So you only help him and do not hinder him. That's what exactly, this is the idea. So we discussed why, discussed how, discussed also when. And the purpose also we have discussed. Okay, then the next point. This is over. Whenever we are thinking about incarnations, then we have to think something very wonderful. You know, what is that wonderful thing? Why are we studying? What are we studying? The life of Sri Ramakrishna as what? We are not studying the life of a great man, like a saint, or like a scientist, or a statesman, or a great poet. We are not studying. We are studying the life of not even a saint. We are studying the life of an incarnation of God. So what is the difference between an ordinary jiva, means individual soul, and the difference between an incarnation? To my understanding, I came across at least 9 differences. How many? 9 differences. Okay. Before that, what I want to quote from Sri Ramakrishna, from the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Difference between ordinary men and incarnations. If you Google means not Google. Google Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Difference between ordinary men and incarnation is what he says. There are different planes of consciousness, the gross, the subtle, the causal, and the great cause. Entering the Mahakarana, the great cause, one becomes silent, one cannot utter a word. But an Ishvara Koti, after attaining the great cause, can come down again to the lower planes. Incarnations of God and others like them belong to the class of the Ishvara Kotis. They climb up and they can also come down. They climb to the roof and they can come down again by the stairs and move about on a lower floor. So Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example. There is a royal family. There is a ordinary person. He can go what we call Anthapura, inner court, where women live. He cannot enter into that. He can only come to the outer gate and he will not be allowed to enter. But suppose there is a prince. What can he do? He can go inside because it is his mother, his sisters, and he can go out. He can go in and out. This profound truth, Ramakrishna puts it in a more technical language. Mother, after his experience of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the Divine Mother commanded him. What was the commandment? Live in state of Bhava Mukha. Explaining this, Swami Shardananda says, what is Bhava Mukha? It is a state where a person, according to his will, can either be in Nitya or Leela. Either he can be in Nirvikalpa Samadhi or he can be just like us, completely behaving like us, as if like us, but constantly aware, seeing everything as Leela. Okay. 2 clarifications. What is Nitya? Nitya means the absolute. What is Leela? Leela means the relative. That means the Samadhi and outside Samadhi have no meanings here. Because Samadhi means living constantly with the knowledge I am Brahman. That is called Samadhi. Whether you are consciously according to you or unconscious doesn't really matter. So he can live in either plane according to his will. Any number of times he can go and he can come down. So Nitya means complete identity, I am Brahman. Leela means what? What's Leela?
Seeing the world as God.
That means what? I will put it this way. Nitya means I am Brahman. Leela means I am Brahman. Everything, whatever I experience, is also Brahman. This is the difference.
Maharaj, in the Gospel, there is a conversation with M where he says that mother instructed me to stay in Bhavamukha, but I didn't listen to her, and therefore I'm suffering with broken tooth and something. What is he trying to convey?
Very difficult. It is as good, my guess is as good as anyone's guess. That what it really means is, his natural tendency is to go to that state. So, whenever slight opportunity comes, like that he wants to go. So, that's why mother said, so long as you are here, you have a mission. We are coming to that point. So, you should not rush there. You have to be helpful. This is the secondary meaning. Primary meaning is, be careful where you are walking. Otherwise, you will break your tooth.
Swamiji, if you were a Nirvikal personality, if you were, that was his choice, then he would not be doing his purpose, that is dharma, which is why, that's why he was
Yes,
there.
yes.
Then he couldn't interrelate with us,
Yeah.
and then we wouldn't have anything. Then
Yes,
the purpose would be
yes,
defeated.
yes.
It's better to be doing Leela so that we could...
No. You see, thing is, when a person once experiences that state, he cannot help, as though he is an addicted. Yeah, that's why Sri Ramakrishna gives a beautiful example through a parable. Once 3-4 friends went out, and then they found out an enclosure. Wonderful musical sounds were coming out. Then you see, they wanted to find out. Everybody seems to be dancing and then laughing uproariously. Let us see. One fellow procured a ladder, and don't worry, I will come down and you know this story. So 3 people, they went up, like that they jumped down. 4th fellow, he thought, no, if I don't tell, other people would not know. So I will come and then take everybody. And that person is compared to an incarnation. So the point is that he is always in the state of Brahma. But he also wants to be in this world, seeing everything as Brahman, at the same time knowing that he knows everything is Brahman. Everybody doesn't know he is Brahman. So I have to propagate the teachings. This is the idea. Okay. So this is what Sri Ramakrishna said, difference between incarnations and ordinary people. So what is an ordinary person? In a beautiful Subhashita, you know what is Subhashita? A wise saying, this ahara nidra bhayamaithunancha samanametat pashubir naranam dharmo hi tesham adhiko viseshaha dharmena hina pashubhi samanaha. So between man and animal, there are certain common things. Ahara, eating; nidra, sleeping; bhaya, fear; and maithuna, mating. This is common for all animals, including human beings. The difference is, what is Visesha? Man has the power of Viveka, where he knows what is right, what is wrong. And this is what makes a man separate from animals. This beautiful teaching, Sri Ramakrishna gives in his own way. Who is a Manush? Man Hush. One who is aware of Man. What is Man? Man means who is aware that I am a human being, I should not be an animal. A human being is one who is aware of something higher within himself. This word, I will just dwell a minute on this word man. So mana is a word Sanskrit which means to measure. Human being has got a capacity to measure. Measure what? Measure everything. He can measure happiness. He can also, it means he is aware of what is happiness. He is aware of what is unhappiness. He is aware what is right. He is aware what is wrong. But of everything, the real meaning is he is aware of Purusharthas. Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. One who is aware of these 4, he is a human being. That's why it is called Purusha Artha. One who is not aware, he is a mere So this is what we say. Now I said at least 9 differences. I think did I send some of you those differences?
There were notes you sent.
Was it not there? Okay. Okay. Very briefly, I am going to outline them. So I made a chart like that. Jiva and incarnation, avatara. First of all, the very word avatara. What does the very word avatara means? Do you know what is the meaning of avatara? Avatarana. Do you know what is avatarana? Coming down. This is the first difference. Man is going up. God is coming down. Descending. So why does he descend? God comes down so that he can help man to ascend to God. To help man go to God. So the very word is God descends so that he can make certain clarifications to human being. So because he is confused, so that he can learn how to go up. That is the word. Okay. Here is the first difference. Every jiva, ordinary human being, his body is made up of how many gunas? 3 gunas. And which gunas are more prominent?
Rajas and Tamas.
Rajas and tamas. Actually, tamas is more dominant, combined with rajas and least of sattva. So what does it mean? Ramakrishna also clarifies. The man in whom lust, anger, greed, etc. are very dominant, he is a tamasic person. Not our normal understanding. A tamasic person is one who sleeps, lazy, procrastinator, etc. Here he means all these animal qualities are more. That's why it is also said, an animal has got more tamas. A human being should have more rajas, and a god will have more sattva. So ordinary jivas, more tamas and rajas, mixed always with. So what about an incarnation? Swami Abhedanandaji gives that beautiful Omkara Vidya, Sthane Yadadaya Vishuddha Sattvam Ihavatirno Bhuvi Ramakrishna Omkara Vidya Purusha Purano. Have you heard?
Yes.
So in that, there is, I think, 7th verse or so, I don't remember exactly. Sthane Yadadaya. O Lord, it is but fitting that you are born as what? Vishuddha Sattva. Means 99% gold. I will put it 98%. Because 98% Sattva, 1% Rajas and 1% Tamas, because they will be there. So why they are there? Ramakrishna himself explains. You see, gold cannot be made into an ornament unless it is mixed with a little bit of other metals. So it is like that. This is the first difference in the I am talking about the body and mind. Okay. Then, Jiva is born as a result of karma. We are all born as a result of our own past karma. Whereas, an incarnation is born of Karana Janma, means is a mission. He is free, but he takes up upon himself, I have to do a job, mission. That is why he incarnates. So some people, I will make a little fun. Some people said, out of his infinite compassion, he incarnates. I say fiddlesticks, not infinite compassion. You created this mess. You have to come and every now and then, at least once in a while. He doesn't clean every day. But at least once in a while, come down and clean it. Yes. So he is born of Karana Janma. This is the second difference. Third difference. Man by birth is bound, baddha. Where incarnation is Nityamukta, ever free. Okay. Then, fourth, man is born to exhaust papa and punya. Our karma means we have got punya and papa, you understand? Virtue and vice. So our happiness, unhappiness, to exhaust our
previous
life's karma. And here in this life we are accumulating more, so we will exhaust in the next birth. Whereas an incarnation is born to remove or to add punya to others. So if a papi, if a sinner goes, says, okay, you are free from Martha, you are free from all sins. Get up and go. And then if somebody wants punya, okay, whatever you want, I will give it to you.
Thakur did to Girish Ghosh.
Too many, even now he is doing to us also. Yeah, every time I travel in a car, I say Durga, Durga. That's what. So you better sit on top of the car and protect me. And I will nicely spend my time happily. It is your job to protect. That's what Durga, Durga means. Okay, to exhaust Papa Punya, but an incarnation to remove. So, man is born in ignorance. We are all born in ignorance. Whereas, he is born with full knowledge of what he is. Okay. Every jiva is alpa shaktiman. Means his power is very limited. His knowledge is limited. His power is limited. An incarnation's power is almost, I won't say infinite, because his power gets exhausted after some time. Then a new incarnation comes. It is what is called pop-up. He has to pop up again, otherwise his credit card will not work. Okay, that's why Sri Ramakrishna used to call an incarnation as Kapala Mochan. He can liberate anybody and he can also give anything man wants. The very first line in the Avatara Stotra, Khandana Bhava Bandhana. Now, Bandhana, Bhava Bandhana means what? Any type of, last class we discussed, liberation theology. Poor man, he can make rich. An healthy person, he can make healthy. How does he make healthy? How does Sri Ramakrishna? Very interesting topic. We will discuss future very briefly. What it means is, if a scientist is working on a particular disease, who is giving him that knowledge? It is God who is giving, and especially who is giving? An incarnation. An incarnation is also called Yuga Ishvara. That's why Swami Dayatmananda, Jrimbhita Yuga Ishvara. Even though he is the Lord of the universe, for this particular age, he has a special denomination called you are the in charge of this particular age, you are in charge. Shift in charge in this shift, this yoga. And then what does he say? Yoga Sahai. Yoga means he helps anybody, a scientist, a poet, a farmer, a student, anybody. This is how he helps with his Shakti. So a jiva is born to get abhyudaya or nishrayasa. We have to strive either for worldly happiness or for moksha. Whereas, what does an incarnation of do? He grants abhyudaya or nishrayasa.
That means he gives us grace.
Yeah. So a jiva is born purely for himself, to get out. Whereas, an incarnation is born only for, always for others, everybody. And we already discussed this point, and a jiva can only go up, but an incarnation can go into samadhi, come out of samadhi, he can do whatever he likes. So these are some of the differences. There are other differences, but as you can think, you might get more different. But this more or less covers. How many? I think 9 we have got. Okay, I will briefly stop here because we have got another 15 minutes. Is there anything anyone wants to ask? So, how many points we discussed? Today's 4 points we discussed. What are the 4 points? First, concept of an avatara. Who is an avatara? When, why, how of an avatara. Second, what Shankaracharya spoke about the Avatara in his introduction to Gita Bhashya, and Swami Vivekananda, you see, there's something I want to tell you here. Swami Vivekananda has given a beautiful talk on Hinduism and Sri Ramakrishna. And in the Leela Prasanga, very beginning of the third part, Swami Sharadananda incorporates parts of this Hinduism and Sri Ramakrishna, of which I have quoted a little, when God incarnates here. That's the second point. Differences between Jiva and Avatara. So that is the third point. Fourth, what is a Shastra? This point we are not discussed. So we will come to that. Is there anything anybody wants on these 3 points?
Could you just, what are the 3 points in the West? Because I only got 2 of them.
In the you mean 3 values?
Yeah, the 3 values.
Truth,
Yeah.
beauty,
Yeah.
and goodness.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Maharaj, you said that Nitya means Brahma and Leela.
Yeah. Nitya means to know that I am Brahman. Leela means same thing, but since he also recognizes there is something other than me, so if I am Brahman, this is also Jagat, this world is also Brahman. But there is a difference. Leela means that is the difference. Otherwise there is no difference between Nitya and Leela. What is the difference? In Nitya there is no world, only Brahman. In Leela, he is there, fully aware that he is Brahman, and he is also aware about the world. Now, about the world, he is aware of 2 factors. What is it? In reality, this world is nothing but Brahman, God. But there are so many people who are also ignorant. On some other occasion, I discussed this Leela point of view. What is it? It is like a psychiatrist. Remember?
Yeah.
Suppose a patient goes. A patient. He says, I am Napoleon. The psychiatrist now has 2 views about the patient. You get it? First view is, he is not Napoleon. He is just like me, you, anybody. Absolutely same. Second, even though I know he is not Napoleon, but the patient thinks he has a problem. So, I know there is no problem. But I know he has a problem. So, I have to help him how to get rid of that problem. So, this is exactly the position an incarnation has. Then he says that this whole world is nothing but God. At the same time he is aware, the whole world, hardly there is anybody who is aware that he is God. So I am here to help them to know that they are also God. There's an interesting sequel to it. From Brahmananda's teachings you get. So he says sometimes, to whom shall I say? I see everything as Rama. So to whom shall I teach? I can't teach Rama.
Maharaj, is it the when Thakur says Jnani and Vijnani, is he talking about Vijnani being somebody who's experienced Brahman but is now experiencing Leela? Basically, he's
Okay. I will not deal with that question in today's class. The reason is, its question is very simple. The answer is very conflicting and deep. Very briefly what I say is, if a Vijnani is one who goes up and also comes down, which applies only to avatars and Ishvara kotis, then there are so many Jivan Muktas. Not only Nitya kotis. For example, Shankaracharya. For example, Totapuri.
Swamiji.
So many, Swamiji is a Nitya Mukta. Ishvara koti. There are so many who realized God and who lived in this world till the body falls off. So, should every one of them be called a Vijnani, or does Sri Ramakrishna mean something else? So to be very brief about this answer, today's class, there is nobody has come to a definite conclusion what Sri Ramakrishna really means by Vijnani. There are pros and cons. But what I understand is a person who knows God very intimately, like an incarnation of God, he is a real Vijnani from Sri Ramakrishna's point of view, but there are others who controvert me. But we will talk about it. Yes, okay. Before we go further, is there anything?
Swamiji, Avataro, he then must be aware that he is Mayadhin?
Yes.
Mayadhin or Mayadhisha?
Mayadhisha.
Both.
Yes, both. Mayadhisha. Yeah, that is the difference between Jiva and Ishvara. Jiva is Mayadhin, means he is under the control of Maya. Maya Adhin. Ishvara is Maya Adhish. He is the Lord of the Maya. I'll make a little fun with you. There was a beggar who was a little bit of Sanskrit scholar. He went to a king and then he composed a verse. He says, look at this most marvelous thing. You are also a Lokapala. I am also a Lokapala. But in your case, it is Karmadharya Samasa. In my case, it is Bahuvrihi Samasa. Now, Samasas. What does Samasa mean? This word Lokapala means what? It has two meanings. Lokapala means, O king, you are the king of this world. You are the ruler of this world. Lokasya palaha lokapalaha. Karmadharya samasa. Bahuvrihi samasa is lokaha yasya isha palakaha. The world is my ruler. So both of us are lokapalaka. It is Sanskrit grammar. Beautiful, you can derive that one. So Jiva is the Maya Adhina and Ishvara is Maya Adhisha. That's why he can go into Samadhi, he can come Samadhi. Outside Samadhi, he can do whatever he likes. Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Swamiji, sorry. I think Tutapuri himself, he was the incarnated person.
No, we don't consider him as an incarnation.
He himself, and he could be the guru of our guru.
Yeah.
Actually, even though he was a guru of Sri Ramakrishna was also his guru. So Lokapalaha, are you talking about Karmadharya Samadhi or Bahuvrihi? What are you talking about? So what it means is, he could see when he sat in meditation, 2 points are there. He could sit in meditation and go into Samadhi and know, I am Brahma. But when he opened his eyes, he couldn't see Brahma. He saw Maya. That's why he refused to go to a temple. Sri Ramakrishna made him realize, inside also Brahman, outside also is Brahman. That means he was a man of Samadhi, but he doesn't know what Leela is. But after he realized that the world outside is also Divine Mother, then he became a Leela Purusha. Leela Purusha. Okay? Good. Alright. We will conclude with one simple point. What is a Shastra? This is a very important point. You understand what is a Shastra? Shastra means Veda. Shastra means Veda. Let me clarify before we go, maybe next class we will see. What's a Veda? A Veda means knowledge. What do you mean by knowledge? It means, Swami Vivekananda clarifies it. Every word, every story, every parable, every teaching that is given in the Veda is not Veda. So what is Veda? What is Veda means what is that such a big book? What is real knowledge? That knowledge which is obtainable through our 5 sense organs is called Laukika Jnana, worldly knowledge. That knowledge which we cannot get through our 5 sense organs, that alone is called Veda. So there are in our Vedas, in Bibles, in Quran, so many stories are there. So many examples are there. So many teachings are there. They are not Veda. Veda's business is only one. What is that business? To tell us the truth which is beyond our 5 sense organs. Therefore, there are 2 points. We will discuss it next class. The first point is this knowledge is eternal. It is not created by any human being. That's why it is called apaurushaya, not paurusheya. What is paurusheya?
Created by human being.
Created by a human being. No, it is apaurushaya. Not only apaurushaya. It is not even created by God. Because knowledge is eternal. What is eternal?
Thought.
That which can never be created is eternal. One meaning of eternal means if it is created, it is not eternal. It came at some point and then it is continuing. But since knowledge is eternal, even God doesn't create. There is no need. It's already there.
Cannot change to that.
But in other words,
But it
he
is not,
is the knowledge.
he is the knowledge.
He is the
Exactly,
knowledge.
yes.
So no beginning, no end.
But that's a profound idea we will discuss later on. The second point to discuss is that if anybody has discovered these only 3 parts are there. Though it is knowledge, this knowledge manifests in 3 parts. Is there a God? Is there life after? And is there an after world? How many? Whether God is. Second, whether there is life after. And the third, if there is a life after, that means that life is not in this world. That means there is some other world. Call it Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, or Patala, Naraka, heaven, hell. Are they there? These 3. God, afterlife, other world are there. You cannot get them through 5 sense organs. Why? Because God cannot be seen, God cannot be smelt, God cannot be heard, God cannot be tasted, and God cannot be touched. Therefore, there is no way. So these are the 3 truths. Okay. This is the second point. What is the third point? Do you know? Since these are extrasensory truths, they can neither be proved nor can be disproved. Because to prove or disprove, they must be available for some people's experience. You see the point? That's why either you believe, you don't believe. You have a choice either to believe or not to believe, but you have no choice either to prove it or to speak. Do you see the difference between these 2? You have a choice. Okay, I don't want to believe. But there is a condition there. You can choose not to believe when?
Only when you know.
No, now. But you can't say, I will disbelieve it after next birth. Yeah, he has no choice. Your only choice is to do it only in the present time. But how do you know that tomorrow it tappad? Yes, God exists. How do you know? Or you know, that story Brahmarpana. Tiger, Brahmarpana. Like that, you know. So what is the point here? 3 points we discussed. What is Veda? That knowledge which is beyond 5 sensory organs. That's why we have no choice but to believe either scripture or Veda or what Ramakrishna says, a saint says. Because they know what they are talking about. What is the second point we discussed? There are 3 expressions of that knowledge which is beyond our sense organs. What are those 3? God, afterlife, and other world. Okay, what is the third point?
Cannot be proved.
That you cannot either prove or disprove. Because you are talking about something which you don't know. So 2 people who don't know, it is like, 2 people were walking in the street. They met in the street. So both are deaf. So one fellow asking, are you going to market? The other fellow said, no. I am going to see my son. Oh, I thought you are going to the market. It is like that. So it is completely useless. That is why an important fourth point, very important, you cannot use reason to prove the truths of the scripture. What is the point? You cannot use reason because reason works where? Reason works only in the field of which you already know. Whether this is white, this is red, or is good or bad, only when you know. After knowing, reason works. So then what is the purpose of reason? It's a beautiful topic, and the topic is discussed, revelation and reason. What is the relationship? The relationship is, first you have faith, you believe. And then, what is the purpose of reason here? Not to prove them. Because we said you cannot either prove or disprove. Then what is the purpose? The purpose is how to understand the scriptural truths properly and then implement it in my life. Do you see what I am talking about? Suppose take a simple example. Ramakrishna says how to live in this world. Live like a maid servant in a rich man's house. And we take for granted you believe in it. Okay. Having believed in it, then reason comes. Am I really practicing it? Or am I not practicing it? Where am I slipping? And how to improve my quality of life in this regard? There, if we don't have reason, invariably we go wrong. You see now the difference? First faith, then reason to transform our own life. That's important. Okay, we'll do today. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranama